Hello, all, and welcome to the lesson for today or tomorrow or whenever you're watching this. Hey, 5-2, Laws of Exponents. That's Chapter 5, Lesson 2. We're continuing to learn about how to simplify expressions, how to represent numbers. And so here we go. Just a quick reminder of the schedule. Friday finished. So here we are with, we'll call it this week. Now, Group A will be taking Chapter 4's test Monday, probably needing Wednesday to finish it up. And so you'll start up Chapter 5 Tuesday, Thursday, and we decided that there will be no Google Meet this week due to people taking a test in class. It's hard for Mr. Cowan to be teaching at that same time. Now, Group B will follow a similar path, but they're just going to slightly switch things up. You're going to be starting Chapter 5, you're continuing Chapter 5 Monday and Wednesday. Tuesday and Thursday will be your test. And once again, this week is an anomaly. Totally strange not to have any Google Meets. Friday, again, will be independent, continuing on with Chapter 5, but that is normal not to have a Google Meet. So that's where we are for the week. Please let me know if you have any questions, and we will continue. Why don't you take a moment, pause, check your assignment for assignment number 4, page 123, and there's a small worksheet along with page 123. Pause and come back when you are ready. Notice I did not put an answer for 38, so perhaps we can talk together about that as we are back in class together. Now pause here, take a look at your answers from the worksheet. Same thing with number 5, no answer, but I think you'll find that they pretty much are the same. I'm wondering if you understand why. So focus today is continuing to use exponents, and it's all about simplifying. We are not solving, although eventually you will get to equations that can be solved. But for now, we're just going to focus on simplifying. Go ahead and pause the video and write your name, date, period, and the worksheet, as well as another page number, just a few here for assignment number 5. Come on back when you're ready. So how can we simplify multiplying powers? I want you to take a look at these two examples. First example, 10 to the second times 10 to the third. All right, so what does this mean? Let's expand it out. And this kind of feels like a good draw it and prove it problem on the quiz, ladies and gents. 10 to the second times 10 to the third. All right, 10 times itself 2 times, and then 10 times itself 3 times. Well, come on, Mr. Callan, I've pretty much figured that out. It's 10 to the fifth. Now, some of you might be understanding or seeing perhaps a pattern. So let's see if that pattern might also apply to variable bases, n to the third times n to the fourth. So we rewrite n times itself 1, 2, 3 times. We write n times itself 1, 2, 3, 4 times. So that could be rewritten or simplified as n times itself. How many? Well, that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So what are you seeing? Well, that was a bad idea. Let's get that back, Mr. Callan, and bring it on in. Yes, there is a shortcut. You know, Mr. Callan is not a fan of shortcuts if you don't have the deeper understanding. So when in doubt, draw it out. However, sooner or later, you should perhaps will see the pattern that as long as two expressions have like bases and they are multiplied together, then you can add the exponents. 10 times 2, 10 to the second power times 10 to the third power, you guessed it, 10 to the second plus third or 10 to the fifth. Same thing if there are variable bases. N to the third times n to the fourth, if you put the 3 together with the 4. Now listen, you're still multiplying powers, but you're adding the exponents. Let's just be very clear with our vocabulary. Okay, Mr. Callan, that's multiplying. What about dividing? Well, as always, let's look at this and dig into it. 10 to the fifth divided by 10 to the third. You can expand out 10 times 10 times 10 times 10 in the numerator, 10 times 10 times 10 in the denominator. All right, but can we just stop and ask ourselves a question? What is 10 divided by another 10. Well, 10 divided by 10 is 1. And I don't know if we even have to write the 1. After all, 1 times anything is itself, and it just kind of disappears. But wait a second, Mr. Cowan, we have another 10 divided by 10. Oh, and we have another 10 divided by 10. So look at what remains, 10 to the second power, as our final response. All right, does that work also for a variable base? Well, let's take a look at n to the 6 divided by n to the second, n divided by n. Well, I don't know if that's 5 divided by 5 or 10 divided by 10 or 6 divided by 6 or 20 divided by 20. The truth is that any variable, as long as that variable is not 0, because after all, you can't split something into 0 parts. Any variable divided by itself, 5 divided by 5, 10 divided by 10, 6 divided by 6, negative 2 divided by negative 2, n divided by n is still 1. And we have another n divided by n is still 1. Now, what does that leave us with? N to the fourth power. I don't feel that you need to write the 1 as its coefficient, but if you would like, there's nothing wrong with it. So remember when multiplying multiplying powers, things tended to expand or get bigger. We added the exponents. What happens here? When dividing by powers, things cancel. Why is that? Because any number divided by itself is 1. It's all about that 1. So if things cancel out, you would not add the exponents, you would subtract. And so 10 to the 5th divided by 10 to the 3rd, if we subtract the exponents, 5 take away 3, it'd be 10 to the 2nd. N to the 6th divided by n to the 2nd, again, any number divided by itself cancels out. And what would that leave us with? Well, 6 take away 2 would be 4. Now again, you may use that shortcut, is what Mrs. Gowdy used to call it. I call that number sense. Anytime you're dividing powers, subtract the exponents. Anytime you're multiplying powers, add the exponents. Now, you may come to this, although quite frankly, you'll notice the order that I put it in. I would highly recommend doing the worksheet. Now, if you're watching this on Monday, you didn't get the worksheet because Mr. Cowan did not print it out on time. I apologize. So I will put an online copy, but I will offer you the worksheet on Tuesday in class if you really strongly feel that you do not want to do this on Kami. That's fine. Then go ahead, perhaps I would suggest you to go straight to page 137. I will warn you, 37 through 44, I think is more of a challenge. You might disagree. I think it's a little tougher than the worksheet. I'm not saying the worksheet is easy, but I am saying the worksheet is easier. And you can even self-check when you cross off letters, 10 to the 7th power, you would cross off 10 to the 7th, and that will help you answer the question. That's really all I have to say, folks, but don't forget, be prepared for the test. That's a 100-point test that's going to measure your learning from the entire last chapter. And as always, I look forward to seeing you soon. Have a nice day. Let's grow.